Hello, beautiful family. This is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Thank you for sharing space with me, for listening. Thank you for supporting this channel, by liking, with your comments, with your subscription. And yeah, I think we're still vibrating in the energy of this beautiful new moon in Tauro with its fertility. I'm still in the days where we can connect with the seed moment, with the intention that we're gonna commit our energy and our nurturing, our love with, in those areas that have been opened by this energy in Tauro in our hearts and in our lives, probably in terms of creating a stability and material security through this becoming aware of the prosperity consciousness and beauty that is offered by the earth herself. This is a seed to become artists of our life, artists of life. And feeling this from Tauro and also with the medicine of Chiron and Mars there, I think it's very felt in the body. Perhaps you have been feeling this. We are being deeply called to listen to our body, to listen to the true necessity, the true rhythm, the changes in our habits, in our lifestyle, and so on. Because even though we're in these very wild winds of change, and they are blowing with strength this week, the velocity of thought can overrun the velocity of light. We do have this temple body that needs to integrate all of this energy, and it's in a process of adaptation, I would say. So let us not lose sight of our bodies. In truth, it is the body that won't let us lose sight of him in this recreating our relationship with life. We start by recreating a relationship with our soma, with our body. So I'm making this reminder. I know I've spoken of this before, because we're entering the second half of May, in particular next week, where it's just intensely mercurial, Gemini energy, and therefore it's extremely stimulating at the mind level in terms of interaction, communication, exchanges. So I was going to make an announcement, but yes, this is for, okay, yeah. So this next week, I think we are gonna adjust direction more than control. I suggest this, and we have to have like top flexibility. To begin with, on Sunday, when you receive this, Mercury is entering Gemini, its home place. He is the ruler of Gemini. This is the school of the sacred message. It is the first air sign of the zodiac. So more conversations, more messages, curiosity, movement, learning, and the need to connect. The mind is going really, really fast, but it can also be very scattered. We need to breathe. We need to regain the power of our thought as a creating force and be very intentional with our attention. At the same time, on Sunday, we have Venus creating a sextile to Chiron, which opens a period. The whole week is very, very much in terms of relationships, to repair perhaps relationship, to speak from truth, from vulnerability, to heal insecurities, and to have these honest conversations that may bring some peace, hopefully, to our relationships. It is very interesting because this week all of the personal planets, we call them, will change sign. So they are called personal because this is how we experiment them at that level, at a very intimate, immediate, and personal level, the dimension of life that we call reality, and they're all changing. So this brings a very different weather, I would say. Monday the 18th, we have Mars entering Tauro and Venus entering Cancer. These are the cosmic lovers that are changing into new schools of mystery of earth and water. I would say creating a certain contrast that I actually see it as a good energy, thinking of the amount of revolutionary air that we are immersed in and will be in the whole climate. So this does not extend relationships, creativity, values, Venus, or action, will, and direction, Mars, from the change. But it does bring, I would say, some balance to the excess amount of air, because it brings us into our body, into our hearts, so we can create coherence. After all this period of Mars in Aries that has been all of this extremely fiery energy, this has been an extended season of fire. We are going to search with Mars here for something more practical, more grounded, and more consistent from all of these initiatives that perhaps we've been pondering on or have happened throughout the last, 6-7 weeks. And then Venus in Cancer is going to put the focus on nutrition, on care, on love, on emotional security and belonging. But there is a sort of, it might feel like a contradiction, like the mind wants to change everything and the heart wants to feel safe. No, and that's where we need to find a balanced place. That same day, on the 18th, we have Mercury in a conjunction with Uranus. So this is our mind, the human mind, in union with the divine mind, I would say. So Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, precisely in Gemini, that represents this dual aspect of our humanity. No, the immortal aspect and the eternal one. So in Gemini, we experience a lot of duality, but it is not to stay in this dichotomic state. It is to integrate, to transcend this separation towards unity consciousness, really. In truth, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, this is Mercury is really the lead character of the week. There is an immense amount of downloads of information with Urano from the sky, from the cosmos, into our consciousness, into our mind, into our neural network. And it can feel quite electric, quite exciting. It's very creative energy, very genius energy, in fact. Naturally, it's about innovating with our thoughts, with our exchange. You can expect unexpected news, changes in our plans, revelations, brilliant ideas, some anxiety at the level of mind, which we need to manage, and very strong need to free ourselves, to free our minds. Mercury immediately will have aspects with every single one of the big planets in the sky. It's going to create a sextile to Neptune, trine to Pluto. It's going to square the nodes. So let us translate this. I would say this is a heightened intuition, very intense dreams, I would say, creativity, as I said, amplified perception, deep conversations, hidden truths coming to light, need to go deeper into this analysis or psychological depth, intensity, as our favorite word now, and the sensation that something has to change because destiny is calling. Now, these activations of the nodes that we're going to have a few during this week bring this dynamic of the past and the known and the adventure of just allowing ourselves to take steps into the mystery and to trust this calling of our souls. So it seems like a week that we'll have some decisions, some crossroads, and therefore, even with all of this stimulation, probably noise also, I would invite us to make pauses of silence so we can truly listen to our inner truth. This seems essential at the time. That same day, on the 18th, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, I'm not on the 18th, am I? Yeah. Sí. Just at the beginning still. Venus and Mars are going to perfect a sextile between them. This is beautiful. As I said, it's kind of nice how the week develops in harmony in terms of masculine and feminine energy. And this will create a weather for the whole week that in a way harmonizes or creates or sets us for agreements, balancing this feminine and masculine energy, and helping us to act with love, not only to be reacting to this intense voltage of energy. Again, it's very creative, Mars and Venus. The energy seems very beautiful for meeting, for encounters, for collaborations in this creative profile, and also very visionary. And then we arrive to Gemini season. On the 20th of May, the sun will ingress Gemini. This is the first Gemini season that we're going to have Urano there, at least in more than 80 years. So we can expect the unexpected. I would say it's going to be a pretty restless or, mobilizing season in all of these that I've been speaking of, our mind, our thoughts, our communication, exchanges, movement, change. Because as you can imagine, a few days after the sun enters Gemini, the sun and Uranus are going to have their first conjunction, as I said, in over 80 years. This is like an electric discharge of memory, galactic memory, and future. This is all of this mental air. The challenge will be to not live only in our heads, but to, as I said at the beginning of our conversation, to also embody this energy. But this is a big, big need for freedom. It's awakenings, it's sudden changes, it's breaking the pattern, breaking the routine, acting differently. We are not the same, and this is not the same world or the same reality that we're used to now. There's a lot of air, so it almost feels to me like an electric storm. I've been mentioning on some of my conversations that, to me, ever since Urano entered Gemini, it has felt like I live in a Mercury retrograde in my life. It's been very intense. And I think, yeah, well, I mean, he's a disruptor. No, so there is disruption of the forms or the relationship we have or the management we have of communication and technologies. Now, I think this is the phase where we are recognizing this new frequency and like becoming aware that everything is frequency. We knew this, we are experiencing this in a much more clearer way. And we need to become responsible and accountable and sovereign of our frequency, and to know that there are a lot of interferences, and we need to strengthen our field. Therefore, this energy is to have full awareness of the quantic field and how we vibrate and how we reverberate in the field. It's this, I believe, and I create in a faster way than ever before. We will learn how to manage this velocity. We are very adaptable. We are very resourceful. And that, I think we ought to enter this stage of our development just lighter, you know. We cannot truly walk in these times with a lot of attachment and a lot of resistance, because it will make it a lot harder. The general sensation might be like something big is changing, but I can't see the full map yet. That's pretty much the feeling. And there's more. Going back to Mercury, on that same day of the union of the Sun and Uranus, this is the 22nd of May, Mercury is going to create a sextile to Saturn. And I think this is quite lovely in the context, because Saturn can stabilize a little bit our thoughts. It will give some order to our mind, bring some clarity, I would say, and allow us to ground these ideas. No, it's great for having more mature vision and conversations. I would say, let us truly lean into this maturity that Saturn brings, because there is a layer of expression of Gemini that is very, I would say, very Peter Pan or very Tinkerbell. It's about staying as children that don't want to grow up also. And we are in this threshold of maturation as humanity. If we stay in that frequency of Gemini, we will not assume the importance of this moment of maturing, and we might lose ourselves in the immensity of information, with losing the opportunity to cultivate the great power of the great creator power, I would say, that this moment holds if we hold our intention and our attention. There, Venus and Mars, I don't want to get too technical, but they are making moves throughout the whole week, activating the nodes as well. So I would say the destiny is manifesting its plot and plot twists in our relationships and sharings. It is like something we cannot escape from, I would say. And perhaps we wouldn't want to, because this is our soul's calling. This is what our soul wrote for us, for this time, for this moment. Everything that's happening, it's truly divine timing. And by Saturday, we're going to enter the most active phase of the lunar cycle. We come into the quarter moon with Virgo, and Virgo is south node. So I would say this is a calling us into accountability for our seeds, for our dreams, for our vision. And from Virgo in a high frequency, it's about cleaning our act. It's about order, maybe correcting, maybe taking care of our bodies, like checking in with our habits, grounding these ideas. And amongst all of this mercurial activation, Virgo is also a Mercury sign. We are invited to discern. to prioritize, to set some boundaries, and to make of our daily lives this work of art, this abundant garden that we have been dreaming of since the new moon in Tauro. So the closing energy of the week is a bit more inspired, more spiritual, I would say. In what sense? I think it's about connecting to our intuition, really. All of these activations are going straight to our we call it chalchihuit, which is the precious stone. Speaking of Inkinam or the Toltequidad, of the sixth perceptual center, this is an awakening of our pineal gland, of this clear vision, of this integrating the hemispheres of our brain, of this duality turning into cooperation and unity through weaving these bridges. So all week speaks about creating bridges, internal and external, so we can manifest this creativity. I would say let us be extremely aware of just scattered energy, of extreme acceleration, overthinking, and to get stuck, in our small minds. This is a communion with the mind of God, of Creator, and an alignment with attunement with our superior calling as well. The energy is really there for a change of perspective, for transformative conversations, and to adjust our path, I would say. So let us have enough pauses, enough listening, so we can make these decisions truly aligned with our path. It is a week to maintain flexibility in our minds without losing our emotional center, I would say. So I think that's what I have for this week. My dear family, wishing this is of service to you. Again, in gratitude for your attention. And yeah, next week I'm going to be facilitating a retreat, so I'll do my best to come earlier and bring the information of the full moon in Sagittarius. Otherwise, I'll see you a few days after. And I wish you peace in your mind, peace in your heart, peace in your body, peace in your relations. Tlazokamati.